No, nothing. I forgot after.
top shelf, but I split it with the low. 144, nigga, everybody know. Hardly ever only was revenge, fuck a road. Say you down for the cause, gotta show me. Stand tall and do not blush. Remain calm when the danger pop up. Flow deep like David Jones locker. More bars than Central Locker. No competition, only glory in the distance for my roots.
Alright, let's get started. Shalom, Israel. YAHANNA Shabbat to all the brothers. Salakia. Alright. Once again, Shalom, Israel. YAHANNA Shabbat to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemar Thumb Bashim Yahshua all the sisters. Alright, I'm Peace and Officer Shar Yawan, just filling in for Officer 1000's Abadi until he gets here. Tonight is Saturday night scripture breakdown class. If you're tuned in, make sure you hit those sign-in links. If you're tuned in with us on YouTube, all right, hit those sign-in links if you want to join the school. All right, when the class ends, make sure you hit that sign-up link. All right, also, if you're watching, all right, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channels. All right, we got classes going non-stop. All right. Subscribe to I.S.U.P.K Canada, I.S.U.P.K Toronto on YouTube, okay, I.S.U.P.K Quebec, I.S.U.P.K Montreal YouTube, okay. If you're in Canada, you want to be subscribed to those YouTube channels, all right, to stay tuned in with us and join the school if that's something you want to do. So tonight, again, is Saturday night scripture breakdown class. All right, quick shout out to the chat. Shalom, Janice Bell, Yahshua Tham Bashim Yashai. Shalom Nawal, Yahshua Tham Bashim Yashai. Thawada for tuning in. All right, Barak Ya'ala. What's going on, Ak? Yahbashim Shabbat Thawada for tuning in, Ak. Hopefully everything's so wild. Make sure you hit those like buttons. We got a good class tonight. We got lots of articles we're going to get into. And just to kind of start the class off until Priest and Officer's body gets here, let's run into a scripture. Let's go to the book of Malachi. I believe it's Malachi 1 and verse 4. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Okay, it says, well, let's start at verse 3. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 3 says, and I hated Esau. Okay, who is Esau? Esau is the oppressor, the Caucasian race. Okay, the Irish, the Polish, the Russian, the British, right? All those different Caucasian races. That is, his biblical name is Esau. Okay, this is where these people descend from. Okay, the people that go around oppressing the earth. That is who Esau is according to the Bible. It says, and I hated Esau. This is the Most High. The Most High hates Esau for the things that he does, for his character, for all the destruction that he does surrounding the earth. It says, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. I just want to get to the point. I'm not going to break it all down. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. Understand, this nation of people, they're going to be destroyed for all the evil that they've done. You can read about the prophecies concerning Edom in the book of Obadiah. Understand, and just like every mighty nation has ever ruled this earth, there was always a time where they had a fall. You understand, their pride led them to a fall. All the evil that they go around doing, this nation of people that is ruling today, they are going to have a fall. They're going to be destroyed. That's a prophecy in the Bible. You understand? And there's going to be a time when they're going to try to build, and the Most High is going to tear it down. You understand? So they shall build, but I will throw down. Who's I will throw down? That's the Most High saying I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, because this race of people is a wicked race of people. And the reason I'm just jumping in this verse to kind of set the tone for tonight's class is, as we go through some of these stories tonight, you're going to see how wicked that these people are. You understand? And that's one of the most freeing things that can help you as a Black, Hispanic, or Native American brother or sister, is understanding who the devil the Bible speaks of is. All right. Hey, what's going on, Officer Adia? Yabashim Shabbat Thumb.
Hey, Shalom, peace, Yahweh Shalom.
Hey, what's going on?
And nothing. You could hear me?
Khan, sir, you're a little low, but I can hear you.
Okay. Can't, no sweat.
All right. So, again, it's saying that this nation is the border of wickedness, right? And it's not hard to tell that. You just see what they're doing on the earth today. The earth is, what does it say in Proverbs? I think it says, when the wicked are in rulership, the people mourn. And when you look at this earth today, the people are mourning. Everybody's complaining and crying about pricing, rent pricing, food pricing, right? Trying to find a job, the stresses of finding a job, the stresses of being number one, going through schooling, right? Fighting to get a job, to keep a job. You understand? You got all these different timelines, or yeah, these different times that you got to be at work. If you're 1 minute late, you're worried about losing your job. I saw this one company. This brother, he just started working for the company. He was there maybe 2 days, and his best friend's mother died. Yeah, his best friend's mother died, and he told his employer, "Hey, I'm sorry, I need a day off because I got to go to a funeral." And this company fired him. Company fired him and said, "We need reliable workers." And that's the kind of oppression that we're living in today in 2023, under this wicked race of people. He has kids, he has a family that he has to feed, and because he misses a day to go to a funeral, you're not even allowed to grieve in this society, in this kingdom. And so the people are in mourning. Understand? It says they're the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Right? I was talking to some people today, and I heard this one man say that Esau messed up in the beginning for how he mistreated his brother. But the moral of the story was, at the end, Esau went and hugged his brother and gave him a kiss, and he stopped hunting him down. And that's the moral of the story, that Esau changed, you understand, and he eventually treated his brother kindly. Sir. Salaki, sir, what's that?
No, I just said good night. Like,
yeah, kind. Yeah, that's the disgusting things this Christian church is teaching. Edom has some good heart because he hugged and kissed his brother. and that's the moral of the story on how we got to exemplify God's love. That's what he was trying to say, right? So I brought up this verse to show that the Lord has indignation against Esau forever. You understand? Because this race of people is a disgusting race of people. For all the filth that they've done on this earth, you understand, the Most High has indignation. Another word for that is hatred, right? A very strong hatred, or a very strong dislike or disdain towards this race of people. And that's why this race of people has to be destroyed. All right. What else can we get into? Let's jump to Another verse we can go to is the book of Psalms. Let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 55 and verse 20. All right, Psalms 55 and verse 20 says, He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. All right, this is speaking about the people that have continually destroyed us. Right, it says he has put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. This class, right, is titled Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. And it's such a sad thing that we keep giving our love to these people that keep destroying us. We keep giving our love to these people that hate us. And what we're really doing is trying to seek peace with them. How can we hold hand in hand with the white race? That was Martin Luther King's dream, right? That one day, so like I can't remember his exact speech, that one day that we'll be united, right? Something like that.
I have a dream.
God, he has a dream that one day blacks and whites will work together. And that was the most destructive thing that could have ever happened to us. Right? When the Most High told us to be holy, he told us to be different from every race of people, to separate ourselves from these nations, not to hold hand in hand with them. And today we're sitting here trying to seek these peace with these people, this wicked race of people that has a perpetual hatred for us. Right? We're here in Canada. These sisters are walking down these highways, walking down these roads. Right? They're out just trying to go to clubs, have some fun, and these women are going missing by the thousands. You understand? These women are going around these streets thinking they're safe, thinking that there's peace in this land. Meanwhile, they're going missing by the thousands.
God.
Because he has put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. I think it was called Highway 16 over out in British Columbia or somewhere out in western Canada, right? And these women were going missing. They called that highway the Trail of Tears or the Highway of Tears, because so many sisters were going missing walking down that highway. You understand that it became such a painful thing for the Native Indians here in Canada.
Right.
You understand? You think you're at peace walking on these roads. Meanwhile, this devil is putting his hands on you, right? He's stealing your women. He's destroying your people. Khan, so you want to say something?
Khan, Salaka, if I may cut in, priest. What you're saying and the verse you brought out, you know what I'm saying, is so powerful that people need to realize something, that the oppressor, you don't have to do nothing to the oppressor for the oppressor to destroy you, man. You understand? Right. Like, this is I'm reading this book. It's called the Iceman Inheritance by Michael Bradley, right? And in this book, there's a part of it in this book. I'm gonna read it like, you know, a paragraph of it. Belgian anthropologist Claude Levi-Strauss states, in what used to be called Hispaniola, today Haiti and Santo Domingo, the native population numbered about 100,000 in 1492, but had dropped to 200 about a century later. Understand? From 100,000 people to 200 people, man. Imagine the number of people, you understand, that they had to kill. And these native in Hispaniola, in Haiti and Santo Domingo, they weren't fighting the white men in the beginning. They were giving them gold. They were giving, you understand, the white men seen so much gold, the children were playing with gold, and they were giving the white men gold like gifts. And the white men in return slaughtered them, man. You understand? This is, and I didn't write the book that I'm reading, and I suggest all of you brothers and sisters and everybody that's watching, Go get this book. The Iceman Inheritance, man. It's written by a white man about white people, about the crime, about the philosophy and the culture of white people, which is really about crime and killing everybody on the face of the earth, man. You understand? They put their hands on people, on those that were at peace with them. Those native, you understand? Those native Taínos, you understand? Those brothers, you understand, in South America, they didn't do a damn thing to the white man. Welcome them with open arm. You understand? Welcome him with open arm, and in return, they slaughtered them, man. And this is why still today we finding out that native women and native children are being killed, man. Native men are being killed, are in jail, and nobody cares. But I.S.U.P.K cares, man. So like it.
Uh, that's heavy. Right, just to add, like, I keep hearing stories and stories like that same storyline over and over about the genocide that this devil has put on our people. And you would think our races would become damn near extinct for how many of us he slaughtered. Like they had what, like over 99 million blacks on the transatlantic slave trade. They had over 70 million natives, right, slaughtered from different plagues and murder, all the different wars that has gone on. You look today, the abortion clinic. Good night. Those numbers on those aborted blacks and Hispanic women is disgusting. It's insane. Like you would think our race would be wiped out by now. You understand? Like, and it's not a small thing. It's on such a mass scale.
Right.
Khan, but Salaki, Officer Zabadi, did you want to take over?
Cut. Hey, shalom, Akim. Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatha. Yahweh Shem Alatham Bashem Yashai to all the sisters. Hey, how's it going, Akim?
Hey, shalom, priest. Yeah,
Sure.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, come.
Okay, sir.
Can y'all hear? Y'all can hear me? Okay, fine. All right, so I definitely did want to take over. I have this is definitely going to be a class that should be spoken about all throughout Canada. If you've been watching the news lately, you've seen Native American women crying on the news, right? If they're not talking about that, they're talking about how much money Canada, Justin Trudeau, is giving to the Ukraine war, right? To the war in Ukraine. World War III is on its we're looking at it right now, right? But at the same time, on Canadian soil, this is something that's been happening for centuries, right? Canada is coming to light now, but this is something that's been happening for centuries in Canada. Sisters have been going missing in Canada for centuries, right? Now, right? So I got a couple articles that I did want to go into. Officer Shariwan, do you have the articles?
Con, sir. I'm pulling some up now. I'll get that first one you were asking for, sir. One second. Okay, Con, I have the first one up. Did you want me to share the screen of the video?
My internet is kind of choppy at the moment. So, like, Shariwan, you can hear me?
Con,
Yeah, come. We
sir.
go hear you, priest.
Right. This is definitely something that needs to be spoken about. So Shariwan, he has a couple of articles lined up that we're going to go into, and when Shariwan's ready, he's going to read the article.
Con, sir. The first one you told me to pull up was a YouTube clip.
Okay, if it's a YouTube video, you can play that one.
Con, sir.
Right, and this is in the province of Manitoba, known as the Flatlands in Canada, the prairies, right? Now, missing sisters have been going missing for so long. As Shariwan cues up this video, sisters have been going missing for so long. It's been long suspected that these women who are missing are either murdered or they're trafficked into the sex trade, right? But there's another theory that's coming to light and it's being discussed in Canada. And Sharyuan's going to play this video for us. Sharyuan, you can play it when you're ready.
Oh, okay.
And frustration tonight over the province's lack of action or commitment to search the Prairie Green landfill for the remains of 2 Indigenous women. Earlier today, the Premier met with Indigenous leaders and family members of Mercedes Myren and Morgan Harris and told them she can't knowingly risk Manitoba workers' health and safety without a guarantee that they will find the remains of these 2 women. CTV's Danton Unger joins us live now with more details about what happened today. So, Danton, how are the family members responding to this?
Well, this isn't what they were hoping for, Catherine. At least one of the family members walked out of the meeting in anger and sat on the steps of the Manitoba legislature and cried.
We've waited long enough. My cousin has been in that landfill for over a year now.
Melissa Robinson was hopeful a meeting with Manitoba Premier Heather Stephenson would bring her one step closer to bringing her cousin, Morgan Harris, home. Instead,
all right, Sharyuan, you can pause that video for a second. Okay, so if you don't understand what they're talking about, right, I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of what's going on, right? Native women are going missing, and the Native people who we consider our brothers and sisters, the tribe of Gad, right, God's chosen children, who goes through the same curses as Black people and Hispanic people, they're suspecting that the Native women are in the landfill. Justin Trudeau promised to give, which we're going to get into some more, right? Because there was a promise, and this is why you can't trust your oppressor. Your oppressor is going to lie to you. Oppressors don't agree with each other, especially when it comes to the fact of helping Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. For now, we're going to say Native Americans because we're talking about the tribe of Gad, right? When it comes to helping the tribe of Gad, the oppressors, they do not agree. They will say one thing to get elected in, but when it comes down to actually doing it, it's not going to happen. This is something that Gadites or Native Americans, First Nation people, Indigenous people to Canada, United States, and throughout the world where it concerns the children of Israel, right? They're familiar with the oppressor saying, we're going to help you. And when it comes down to it, there's a broken treaty. In Canada and America alone, oppressors have broken thousands upon thousands of treaties and agreements with the tribe of Gad, with so-called Indigenous people. Right? So that's what they're crying about. That's what this sister is crying about. She's saying she wants to find her cousin. Right? She believes her cousin is in the landfill. Right? Many Native people believe their sisters, mothers, aunties, daughters are in those landfills. In Canada, or the Premier of Manitoba said she is not going to basically dig into the landfills to find out. Right?
Good night.
And this is something we're going to get into tomorrow. Sharyuan, you can keep playing the video.
My thought is to leave my cousin there and say that it's okay. It's not okay. And I don't know how she could sit there across from us and look at us in the face and say that they're not going to do anything. It's upsetting.
It's believed the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myren are in the Prairie Green landfill north of Winnipeg. An Indigenous-led study was completed in May, finding a search of the landfill is feasible, but could take 3 years and cost up to $184 million, with no guarantees that the women's remains will be found. It also warned of risks due to exposure to toxic chemicals, said foregoing a search.
Good night.
Sharyuan, I need you to pull that back like 10 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds, right? Because we're going to play this again. Did y'all hear that number? 180 million or $81 million, right? That seems like a lot of money to, well, that's a lot of money to a person who works a 9 to 5, a regular job, right? That is a whopping amount of money to spend to go and look through the landfills, right? That's what one would think, right? You would think that is a lot of money, when to the Canadian government, that is a drop in an ocean. That's nothing to the Canadian government, right? If it was for one of their daughters, they would spend 10 times that. They would, if it was for one of their cousins, they would spend 100 times that, right? So now, Shayuan, I need you to keep playing. Just remember that number. Play that one more time. $184 million. And it's feasible. They could do it in 3 years to search that landfill to find these missing women. Right now, they're suspecting 2, but there are thousands of missing women from the Gadite tribe, from indigenous lands, right? From the indigenous people that are missing. Shayuan, if you could play that one more time.
Salakia, priest, Salakia.
Come on, Nadia. Come on, sir.
They didn't spend as much, you understand, for six
Wait.
millionaires, you understand, that went in under the sea. But they still make
Oh,
sure,
okay.
They spend money. So,
I was trying to stop you because I didn't know if you were going to pull the rabbit out that hat already. I can't have you pulling the rabbit out the hat, man. Salakia, you gotta listen. I'm about to work a show right now.
Good, Salakia, man.
Yeah, but okay, God, for them 6 millionaires or billionaires, they didn't even spend that, right? Right. But listen, 184 million, right? For a native woman, they're not doing that. Salakia. Okay, show you on. Keep playing.
Okay.
Because to Canada, that must mean a lot of money. 184 million. That's a lot of money. Salakia.
An Indigenous-led study was completed in May, finding a search of the land. Landfill is feasible, but could take 3 years and cost up to $184 million, with no guarantees that the women's remains will be found. It also warned of risks due to exposure to toxic chemicals, but said foregoing a search could be more harmful to families. Hours after the meeting, Premier Heather Stefanson released this statement, saying, "The search process described in the report is complex and comes with long-term human."
Wait. Shayuan, stop.
Simply can't.
Now, this is a woman, a Caucasian woman. She is the premier of Manitoba, right? And she's going to give a statement that seems like she cares, right? But if you understand, like we understand in the UPK, when the oppressor speaketh, he speaketh lies. In this case, when she speaketh lies, right? Shayuan, you can keep playing.
Cannot be ignored. Based on the report, we cannot know risk Manitoba workers' health and safety for a search without a
that's me. I think my internet's a little choppy.
No sweat. You got it.
Cancel.
Guarantee.
For myself, I'm not happy.
The province's decision isn't sitting right with Long Plain First Nations Chief Kyra Wilson, who says the premier told them today she just received a copy of the feasibility study this morning, despite the fact it was completed 2 months ago.
Quite frankly, I'm pretty much
wait.
For support.
Stop this. I told you the oppressor is going to lie to you. This study was completed 2 months ago. This is 11 days ago. This story, right? The preem or the the premier, which is basically the top boss in each province. That would be like your Slovakia. That would be the CEO of Ontario, right? Every province has a CEO, and Justin Trudeau would be basically like the president or something of a company if you're looking at it as a company, right? But the premier is basically saying she just received the finding or the document talking about the feasibility, meaning the possibilities of completing this task the same morning as the meeting. But the reporter said that the report was completed 2 months ago. So it goes to show you that they absolutely don't care, right? The oppressor doesn't care whether these sisters come home or whether they're still lost, whether they keep going missing or what, right? So who's supposed to care? That's a question I'm gonna ask during this class, right? Who's supposed to care? Sure, you can keep playing.
Come.
This point in time, just given the fact that they are continually giving us excuses time and time again of how they are not going to support the landfill search.
Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs Grand Chief Kathy Merrick says she wants to see real action.
It's disheartening that we have to
Oh, Slovakia.
No, that's okay. That worked for that part of the video, right? So we got another part of the video. That premier, Heather Stevenson, she said she received that report the same day of the meeting that she had with these Native family members of the missing and murdered Indigenous women, right? She said she just got that report. Now, if this prime minister really cared, wouldn't she make it a priority to find out where this report is if the report was being conducted, right? If you're going to go speak to a family and talk about their missing loved ones, right, who are presumed murdered, right? This premier, she does not care. It's not on her priority list, right? The love of our sisters is supposed to be on our priority list. Shariwan, I need you to pull up number 2, because now we got to talk about that $180 million, right? I all felt like I was supposed to put my pinky finger up to my mouth like Dr. Evil in Austin Powers, just saying $180 million. Right? Y'all remember that scene? I'm not sure if y'all ever watched Austin Powers, right? But there's a scene where he comes up back from the past and he says an amount of money that's supposed to be like the most amount of money in the world, and everyone's looking at him like, sir, that is not a lot of money. That's only like a penny, right? Yeah. Well, that $180 million seems like just a penny to Canada. Well, let's find out. Or is it a lot? Is it the most money in the world? So we have to find out. So 1 second, I have another article. There's a war going on miles away from Canada that hasn't touched Canadian soil, right? But the people in that land look like the people who run Canada. It looks like they're cousins. Let's see how much money they gave the people who look like them. Shariwan, can you read this article for us?
Sir. There's an article from cbc.ca. It says Canada has promised more than $1.5 billion in military.
Wait. Shariwan. 1 second. Canada has promised 1.5 million?
1.5.
Is that what you just said? A billion. No, I didn't hear you properly. You said 10 million, right?
$1.5 billion.
Shariwan, did you say $184 million?
$1.5 billion.
Good night. Good night. That's 10 times the amount that
Right.
that Canada is going to cost Canada to find missing women in its own country. Right? They just had a fake reconciliation day when Canada hasn't reconciled anything with the Gadite tribes. Right? They're not willing to do anything about it. Right? So, okay, there is another video that I want to find. Show you one. In that last video that we were watching, did they say about did they play the part where the premier said, I'll just tell you, the premier said she's willing to pay for a memorial for these women, right? But the Canadian federal government gave 1.5 billion in military aid to Ukraine. Show you what. Can you keep reading for us?
Oh, sir. $1.5 billion in military aid to Ukraine. Here's what we know. Military hardware pledged or sent so far includes anti-missile system tanks, howitzers. Canada has committed more than $8 billion to
We. Wait, show you what? 1 second. 1 second. 1.5 billion is damn near 10 times 184 million, right? But how much has Canada committed, Shaywan?
Canada has committed more than $8 billion to Ukraine since Russia's February 2022 invasion, including over 1.5.
That's disgusting. That is. Khan, Shaywan, you can finish.
Cancer, including over 1.5 billion in military aid.
Khan, Shaywan, you could drop that, right? That's disgusting. These oppressors do not love you. Like when the Christian church comes around and tells you that you're supposed to love the oppressor, just run far away from them as possible, right? When politicians come on your land, on the native reservations, when you see them in your neighborhoods, in the ghettos, in the low income areas that we live in, right? Some of us live in mid-income areas. When you see these politicians, do not think that they're going to help you at all. A politician's main job is to lie to you, to pimp you. The game of politics is pimps and hoes, Salakia, right? And if you're not the politic, who are you? I'm sorry. I just listen. You're not the pimp in the game. So who are you? Canada has committed $8 billion to Ukraine. To clear this dumpster, it's going to cost $184 million, and it's going to take 3 years, right? Now, they're worried about the environment. They're worried about safety. You don't need people to exactly go in and dig, right? You could get these drones. They got drones. Get some of those drone dogs from New York. Tell Justin Trudeau to talk to Joe Biden because they're both liberal, right? Get some of those drone dogs from New York that are patrolling and harassing Black and Hispanic people in New York City and get them to go in that dumpster for 3-4 years, right? No families are going to get sick. And this is why oppressors are not supposed to be in charge or over us, right? All right, show you one. You could drop that. You could drop that. Cut.
So I was just scrolling down the article and I noticed the different countries supporting Russia, and it's so heavy. It's so heavy that it says in the Bible, every beast loveth his like, and something about every kind loveth his neighbor. I'm just paraphrasing the verse, and it's like you got to understand that these oppressors, they stick together. They love their own.
Right.
We should learn from that as a people. Like, when are we going to stick together and build up our own nation? Salaki.
This is definitely Khan out here.
If I may, and this should be a note for every Christian that say, well, we gotta love everybody. Well, we gotta love everyone and everything. Well, where's the love for the Native Indian over here? Like
Right.
when you read articles like this, the government has a duty to do, you understand, and to take care of people in the nation, right? But so on native part of that nation, because Canada also spend money to go, you understand, help the Ukrainian. And we could find videos of the Ukrainian clubbing and having fun. You understand? Those people are the Ukrainians that are dying are the soldiers. The population are actually having fun, taking all the drugs, having all the nasty sex. Meanwhile, Canada is sending billions to them, yet native women. And also that should that should be a sign for every feminist out there. A woman that's in charge, you understand, in that zone has no conscience for native women.
Right.
You understand? This should be a sign
Well,
about feminism, you understand? Doesn't work for us.
so Salakia, Adia, I got one more for you too, right?
Yeah.
Because that's heavy what you just said. A woman doesn't care about another woman, right? Now, who's worse than the cave devil? His daughter, his wife,
Yeah.
right? Them cave beasts. Becky is a horrible person, right? And that should, like, this story should be a slap in the face for, because okay, at the same time as they go missing Native sisters, Hispanic and Black women go missing in Canada as well, right? And this should be a slap in the face for any Hispanic, Black, or Native American man who wants to lay down with a cave devil, right? You
Right.
want to lay down with a cave devil. That cave devil does not love your sisters,
Right.
right? And that's something you got to understand. That cave devil does not love your sisters, right? She's not willing to spend the money. She's not willing to risk anything in help of missing Native American or missing Indigenous, presumably murdered women, right? But the hypocrisy in Canada is they pledged that they were going to help. This is the hypocrisy. But when it comes down to helping, every beast loveth his like Sharyuan said, right?
Yeah.
These are the curses that Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous people go through, right? They're going to give, like, and I was just looking through that list. If I was to go through this list right quick, this list is approximately January 24th, 2002 to May 31st, 2003. America gave Ukraine 46 billion. Germany gave them 8 billion. United Kingdom 7 billion. Poland, like, listen, with that money, you could have searched every landfill in Canada and found every missing person. You could have left no rock unturned in Canada, right? That's what could have happened, right? But instead, no one gives a damn, unfortunately, right? And it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to stop thinking the oppressors love us and one day they're just gonna magically love us and appreciate us, and we're just gonna be in Dr. Martin Luther King's wet dream of us hand in hand, and everything's going to be daisies. We're gonna be hand in hand skipping down the streets. That's not going to happen. If we don't love each other, no one's going to love us, because Caucasians sure do love themselves. This is a list of all Caucasian countries, right? Where the top brass of these countries are ran by Caucasians giving money to Ukraine, another Caucasian country, right? But when it comes to missing and murdered Indigenous women, $184 million is just way too much money. It's way too much. Sorry, I can't give you nothing. That's so much money. How can I give you $184 million to go dig around in the dirt and we might not even find something, right? But let's think about it. With all the missing sisters that have gone missing since the 80s, right? And that number is really high. We're going to bring that number out in a second, right? With all those missing sisters, missing aunties, missing mothers, missing daughters, right? Missing wives. You're bound to find women in those landfills,
Yeah.
right? Show you one. If you got that article.
Come on, sir. This is an article written from World Americas. It says Canada releases plan on missing murdered Indigenous women girls. As many as
Canada has a plan. They're going to do something.
It says as many as 4,000 may have disappeared over 3 decades. The Canadian government released
Wait. Show you one. You say that number again?
Come on. It says as many as 4,000 may have disappeared over 3 decades.
4,000, as many as 4,000, not just the 2 that was spoken in the video earlier that's presumed to be in the landfill in Manitoba, right? Over the last 3 decades, they're saying as many as 4,000 Indigenous women are missing or presumed murdered. Show you one. Keep reading.
Come on. The Canadian government released its plan Thursday to address the tragedy of as many as 4,000 missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The government promised a Canadian $2.2 billion fund to reach goals suggested by the National Inquiry into the MMIWG. The inquiry.
Wait, so Canada, the Canadian government promised, right? The Canadian government promised $2.2 billion in funds to reach the goal, right? Suggested by the inquiry, right? So there was a plan and a goal in finding or helping to look for these sisters, and there was a pledge or a promise of $2.2 billion, right? Now you would think if there's that much money they could use to find these sisters, it should be nothing. That landfill should be being excavated right now, right? But that's not what's happening. There are protests at the landfill because the premier says she's not doing it. She don't care about no sisters. Like, she's basically saying Native people are supposed to be caring about themselves. 6,000. God.
I remember.
Sure you on, I heard you.
Come on, sir. I believe it was last year during some of those wildfires out in British Columbia. The Most High was burning up some of those small towns in Canada, and you had like these little
right.
What do you call them? Those it's like those truck driver towns where they'll go through and they just need like a grocery store and
right.
What's it called? A place to get some gasoline. I forget what it's called. Slaki. But they just stop there, and in those towns, it's like a town of 500 people. And so when the Most High was burning up some of those small towns, it's like you would have maybe 40 people go missing, right? 40 people go missing in a wildfire.
Right.
And they had damn near, what were those countries? I think Canada had help coming in from Cuba. They had help from the States, firefighters coming. I think it was from Brazil, coming all over the world, right, to help find those missing Caucasian people in those wildfires. Like, they had damn near the whole earth trying to help them because they have compassion on their people. And I think that's the big lesson that we got to learn is that, like, these people, they love themselves. They love their brothers. They love their sisters. They love their wives, their children. And it's like what General Muhammad said in that one clip. It's like they can't understand why we should love our own people. And they can't understand why we should have a hatred for them. Like, you can't give $1 million to help some women and children and some men grieve over their missing sisters, they're missing daughters. Like, you should understand and have the compassion to know that grieving over your loved ones is an important thing. You understand? For like a lot of people, like a lot of people are being traumatized because they're losing their loved ones at such a young age. Like those pictures you put up, like those women look like they're in their 20s, maybe 30s. You know what I mean? The one girl, she could have been in her teens. You understand? That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's sister. And just to have the compassion to just let people mourn and try to move on with their lives, it's like these devils don't even want to give you that. But when it comes to their people, they'll tell us to come from Brazil. Send your firefighters into some of the most dangerous atmospheres. Like could you imagine being in a wildfire? Like that's just a joke. You got trees falling down, like the whole forest is burning on fire, but because the love that you have for your people, you're willing to send us in those fires to get your loved ones out. But you can't even give us a little money to help us mourn. Salakia.
So like if I may just add on what you said, right? You understand? Like even this year, we had the fires in Quebec, right? In northern Quebec. The fire, you understand? Yeah, for those that don't know what we're talking about, the fire went all the way. You understand? The smoke went all the way, you understand, to the United States. New York was like looking like a, you understand, like an apocalypse, you understand, sound. Meanwhile, do you know that they were telling the firefighters in Montreal specifically, since I'm over here, not to go over there, or they wouldn't allow them to go over there because they were not used to fight fires like this. They were not equipped enough to fight fire like this. Yet, Mexico came. South America came.
Uh-huh.
You understand? Meanwhile, they're telling the firefighters in Montreal, well, you're not equipped to you understand, for those type of fires, so you could stay home. Yet they had to send Mexican over here and fight those fires.
Right.
This is crazy. Like people don't understand the type of level that they have for their own self. And us in the UPK, when we bring the same energy to our own people and saying we rather love you instead of we love them, now we're the problem. Now we are the bigot. Meanwhile, they are doing exactly the same thing. They're caring for their own. They care for their children, for their race. But once we do it, now it's something bad. You understand? It is nothing bad with you loving your own people and caring for your own people. And this is why Officer Zabaja put this class together about speaking about Native women, because he cares, man. Because the UPK cares, man. Because you understand, Commanding General Yana cares about those missing Native women, and they deserve justice, man.
Damn right.
Understand? They deserve to be found out. So you understand, the perpetrators of those crimes deserve to be in jail, man.
Right.
But we understand in UPK that the oppressor love their own self. What about if we start loving each other like they love each other? What about if we put each other's first? You understand? And that what the Bible teaches? Salakia.
No, that's definitely heavy, RDR. The water, sir. That's definitely heavy, right? Because we do need to love each other, right? Now they're suggesting 4,000 missing sisters in the last 3 decades. I think you could times that number by a lot more, right? I think you could probably add another 20,000 on that number, right? Because there are brothers and sisters who, now, unfortunately, because of the oppression that has devastated the indigenous communities, a lot of families are destroyed. A lot of families aren't speaking up about the tragedies that's going on in their family, right? A lot of now the oppressor definitely lets drugs come into Canada, right? And a lot of those drugs end up on these reservations to keep the tribe of Gad downtrodden, right? But like the scripture says, Gad will overcome, right? Gad is going to be triumphant in the end, right? Native American men and women are about to start standing up and understanding who they are and what they need to do, right? You can see it right now with how they're fighting for their brothers and sisters. They want to find these bodies, right? Officer Shaw, can you Lamentations 4 and 17 for me? But get it after you read this article.
Okay. It says the inquiry compiled a 1,200-page report. Oh, Salak, can I mute? Salaki. It says the inquiry compiled a 1,200-page report given to the government 2 years ago that contained 213 recommendations. The country is still reeling from the discovery last week of 215 children's bodies in unmarked graves at a former Indian residential school. And the document released Thursday allocated $27 million to indigenous communities to help in search for their graves at 138 other residential schools. Yeah. The United Nations called for a full probe into the discovery. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said in a televised address Thursday that the missing women were a national tragedy and vowed to end violence against Indigenous women and girls. In regards to the
So listen, you have a Caucasian Salakia. You got a Caucasian man saying that it's a national tragedy. This needs to end, right? This report was made shortly after the discovery of 215 children's bodies of the Gadites, right? So-called indigenous people, so-called Native Americans, right? That number of those children's bodies skyrocketed. It was in the thousands when they got midway through their process, right? And they're still looking for these bodies. They just don't talk about it in the news because it's more important for Caucasian people to talk about giving billions of dollars to Ukraine, right? Now, as for the ISUPK in Canada, throughout Toronto and Montreal, we were speaking just like we're speaking now, right? Just like the tribe of Gad, Native Americans, right? So-called indigenous people in Canada are speaking about the tragedies that's happening to the indigenous people, to the tribe of Gad. Keep reading, Shariwan.
In regards to the MMIWG report and the children's bodies at the British Columbia Residential School, Trudeau said Canada is no longer trying to hide the truth. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police reported in 2014.
Shariwan, stop right there. Jump 2 paragraphs down. You're going to see a part where it says they included a public campaign. Right? But in that same paragraph, don't start there. Start at where it says about. And then it gives a number. Right? Because this is why I suspect there are way more than 4,000 missing. Like the RCMP wanted to originally say there's 1,000. That's what Officer Shayuan was going to say, was going to read. But then a Native Women's Association in Canada said the number is more like 4,000, right? But I want to show you what was happening in 1820, right? In the 1820s, this is what was happening to Native American children. And Shayuan's about to give you the number. And is going to explain why there is way more than 4,000 women missing throughout Canada from the indigenous tribes. Keep reading, Shariwan.
About 150,000 indigenous children were taken from their parents and put into schools beginning in the 1820s.
Right. That's not more than 100. That's about 150 years ago, right? It's not too long ago. 150,000 children. A lot of those children did not survive. That's why we're finding the bodies in the thousands in these residential schools, right? So now, if we dig through these landfills in Canada, Are we going to find missing sisters by the thousands, right? Ones that presumably, Salakia, and I hate to say this, right? Now, I mean no disrespect to this, to any of the family members of missing sisters if you're watching this, right? For our sisters or our cousins who weren't murdered, and I say ours because Black and Hispanic and Native, we're family. Like, I don't care what no one's telling you, we're family. We go through
Right.
it together. Listen, if we're not family by blood, we're family by oppression.
Right.
So like we got the same oppression. We went through the same thing, right? For our sisters who aren't presumed murdered, that missing part means they could be still alive, right? And the oppressor is a lust-filled bastard. Officer Shariwan, Officer RDR broke this down last week. Shariwan, you said he is the number one Salakia. He's a man of lust, right? He's the number one fornicator. Those were your words, Officer Shariwan. You right?
Fornicator.
That means our sisters, if missing, they could be Salakia. They could be, unfortunately, right, be kidnapped into the sex trade, and it's a horrible thing.
Salakia, while you saying that, priest, I just want to add something, right? Before I lose it. It wouldn't be surprising if the RCMP is involved in killing those natives. And I put a link in the private chat, Babu Kwasha. And if you don't mind, if I could put it, I just want to show something like quick. All right.
Khan, you got it.
Okay. Also, I'm gonna share the screen. Then after that, I'll close it. Then your screen will pop up. All right.
Come on, Council.
Can y'all see my
right?
screen?
And while we're waiting for that, right?
Go ahead, Officer.
It should be popping up.
Yeah, it should be.
Khan, whenever you're ready, Officer Shariwan, just stop me.
No, I got it.
Salakia, I mean, whenever you're ready, Officer RDR, just stop me. Or if you got it, you can go.
Yeah, Khan. Now, this is from Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is a known, you understand, news site that shows a lot of news that they would not show you, like you understand, in the media in Canada, in the Western media. Now, what are we reading right now? These are people, you understand, that really investigate things and go get the nitty-gritty. No one is going to believe you when the RCMP abuses indigenous women and girls. They know this for a fact. You understand? This is why I said what I said when I said it wouldn't be a shock, you understand, to find out the RCMP is involved in killing those native women. This is why they didn't want to say the full total numbers. This is why another organization had to say, well, you know what? It's more than 100,000. It's more than 100 girls. It's, you understand, over there. Meanwhile, the RCMP is covering for, you understand, for the molesters, for the rapists, and for the, you understand, how you call them, serial killers that they have employed in the RCMP. That's what's really going on in Canada. This is why there's no investigation. This is why, you understand, they're not putting nobody in jail, because those same people that are supposed to run around Canada and protecting people are the same people that's taking advantage of the lowest, advantage of the, you understand, of these native women, man. They know this for a fact. This is a news article. And in fact, I just want to scroll down to that picture. All right. What do we have here? A house of evil. This is Canada, man. You understand? If you don't believe me, ask a native Indian woman. You understand? Ask a native Indian woman, you understand, where a family or a native Indian family that, you understand, where their sisters, their auntie, their mother being raped by our RCMP police cop, a crooked cop. You understand? This is what's really going on in Canada, man. You understand? Salakia. All right. Salakia, that's all I wanted to say. Salakia, appreciate you on mute.
That throughout the Officer RDR, because now I gotta back up exactly what Officer RDR said, right? So Officer Shaywan, he read a number that was about 150,000 indigenous children were taken, kidnapped, right, in the 1820s. Officer Shaywan, in that same article, can you jump back up to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, right? Because Officer Adiyar just read something, and now we're going to just back up and add on to what he said.
This is it says the Royal Canadian Mounted Police reported in 2014 that more than 1,000 Indigenous women and girls were killed or went missing between 1980 and 2012.
Right, and we're saying that number is more, right? Officer Adiyar said he suspects the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to be involved in it. Officer Shaywan, can you keep reading?
It says in some cases, investigations were incomplete because of racist and lackadaisical attitudes.
There you go.
Right, they just didn't care. Right, they don't want to investigate themselves. They don't want to lock up their own cousins, their own brothers, their fathers, their uncles, their sons, their grandfathers. In some cases, it might be women in the RCMP. They don't want to lock up their own husbands. Right.
So,
all right.
So like, Priest, if I may also, I won't be too long with it. All right.
Officer Shaywan, you could drop the article.
Okay. Salaka, can you hear me?
Come on, sir.
Come, we got you. I was just telling Officer Shaywan to drop the article.
Come. And also what's been going on the talk in the politic community as well. Justin Trudeau want to make the RCMP like the FBI of Canada. Like the FBI of Canada. So of course, just like we see in the CIA and the FBI, where there's a lot of corruption going on in there, it is exactly the same thing with the RCMP. Understand? So this is why, just like you say, they're not gonna investigate their own, because it will be a bad look on Canada where you have, you understand, like the FBI of Canada or the CIA, the Central Intelligence of Canada committing crimes. You understand? Meanwhile, there's other people that are not biased and that will do the investigation and show that, you understand, they are involved in those crimes. When are they going to jail? That's a question I want to ask the government. When are these people going to jail? Justin Trudeau, Salaki.
Yeah.
Right, that's definitely heavy. They're not going to jail here. Slovakia. Right. Mindy Mindis, listen, if you are going through it, you should definitely, Lord be with you and your family, first off, right? You should definitely try to get some type of counsel. You can always contact the I.S.U.P.K for counsel. Salakia, we got a number that we could drop in the chat. Officer Shariwan, if you could, I'll get it in a second. Officer Shariwan, can you read Lamentations 4 and 17?
Come on, sir.
I'm gonna get a number for you in a second. Like you could definitely call if you're a sister and call and get some counsel. Right? It's always wise if you're going through any type of pain or any just anything. It's wise to get wise counsel. Right? And one thing that the ISUPK does have is wise counsel. So Officer Shaywan, you can read that verse when you're ready. And then Officer Shaywan, once you're done with that verse, can we get number 4?
Come on, sir.
Yeah, Article 4, once you're done with.
Come on, sir. There's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, and verse 17. It reads, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Slack, sir, you're on mute.
You read that one more time, Shariwan?
Come. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help, and our watching.
Right. Listen, as a people, we are looking for help. You can stop right there for a second, Shariwan. I know, I understand. I know there's a little delay, right? So we'll just work through it. But we're people looking for help. We're asking, we're crying, we're begging for someone to come and help us. Slovakia. 1 second. Give me 1 second. We're begging for people to come and help us, right? Now, we're asking for help from people who don't want to help us. They're not our family. They're not going to help us. They say they're going to help us. It sounds good on paper, but everything that's good on paper might not be good in real life, right? Now, I'll give you an instance, right? As a trade, I do drywall. There are times when the architect, he's going to drop some plan, and on plan, that paper, that thing looks amazing. But the person installing the drywall has to stick their hand between something that only has about maybe 10 centimeters of space, and you can't even drill, right? So it just doesn't work, right? And we have to go and basically do it not according to the plans. That happens a lot. On paper, the oppressors say they're going to help us. It sells articles. It sells movies and TV shows, and it's a good talking point, and some politician could get up and give a heartfelt lie about I'm going to help and cry, and the Pope could get up there and they put a headdress on him, because that's horrible leadership. If your leadership's putting headdresses on the Pope after 150,000 of your children have gone missing, and the Pope, who's a trillionaire, is not giving any money to help go through those landfills. The Vatican alone could spend all the money to clear every landfill and still be rich and still have walls and toilets of gold, right? But they're not going to, because Officer Shaw, you want to read that again?
Come. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for vain help, and our watching, we have watched
Read.
for a nation that cannot save us.
This nation is not going to save us, right? They're not going to help us. They're not going to lift a finger. 200 million is a drop in a bucket. They're giving billions to Ukraine. They'll give billions more to Ukraine. The Pope is not going to help, right? No politician is going to help. We have to help ourselves, right? Our sisters are missing, and we need to find these bodies, right? But at the same time, what's the most important right now? We need to protect the rest of the sisters that aren't missing or murdered. They need to be protected. So no more of our sisters go missing or murdered. No more cousins are missing or murdered. That's what needs to happen, right? There needs to be protection of Indigenous women. Officer Shaw, you want keep reading? Because this is what the oppressor is going to do. He's not going to help you. This is what they're going to do.
Come.
Right. They have toilets of gold and gave us houses of mold. Good night. Get it, sister. That's exactly what's happening with these oppressors.
Verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets.
Right. Listen, it's hard for a Gadite sister to go in them streets. Officer Shariwan was talking about Highway 16. It's a highway of terrors, right? Many sisters go missing on these highways, right? What needs to I watched a clip, right, of the I believe it's the OPP, on a highway en route to Thunder Bay, right? They're stopping go buses, not go buses, those Greyhound buses, you know, the traveler buses where you travel from province to province or major city to major city if you're going a long distance. It's like a bus we would take to Montreal, right? But you got to take a bus out to Thunder Bay because it's about 16 or 12 hours away driving. They're stopping these buses to search them and go through them with drug sniffing dogs because they're giving a show. Really, I suspect they don't really care, but they're giving a show to make it seem like they care, trying to stop the drug flow going into the Thunder Bay reservations, right? They need to be stopping these trucks, these 18-wheeler trucks that are coming from these towns, leaving these reservations, right? They need to be stopping those and searching them to find out if there's any women in them. That's what needs to be happening, right? Officer, show you on. You can finish up this verse. Adia, you got something?
Yeah, Khan, what you just said is powerful because you know what I was thinking of, Akim? Why? Right. Like, we know that police carry drugs on them. This is why they're planting drugs on people's car, on people's houses, because the police, they have drugs on them. How come those dogs never sniff those police? That's a good question. Like, how come those dogs, you understand, never sniff those police officers that carry drugs just to plant drugs on people? How come? You understand? Like, what is the criteria, you understand, for the police dog to say, you understand, for them to realize, oh, somebody has drug? Because a lot of police have drugs on them. Some smoke drug. I was in the world, right? I was working for Coca-Cola and everything, and I used to smoke back in the day. I was smoking like by where I used to work. There was a train track, right? I was on one side of the train track smoking my weed. On the other side of the train track, there was a police car, and there was smoke coming out the police car, and that's like in the woods and everything. I was like, oh, and I smelled the aroma in the air. I was like, oh, damn, they're doing the same thing as me. So I sent them a peace sign, and they sent me a peace sign back. So, you understand, what is the criteria for the dog, you understand, for police to know that, well, the dog sniff drug? Because a lot of police carry drugs on them for them to plant drugs on people. So how come those dogs never sniff those police officers? That should be the question, you understand, that they have to ask. Salaki.
Salaki, Adawan, if I may add, Adawan. Yahbashim Shabbat.
Hey, Yahbashim Shabbat. What's going on, priest?
Hey, Yahbashim Shabbat. Salaki, can y'all hear me now?
Come, you too well.
Yeah.
Okay, saying crazy.
Yes, Salaki, if I could just add to that, offside here. I remember this one police officer. He was, I guess he went into, it was like early retirement, so maybe he was around 50 years old, and he was talking about, he was basically talking about all the things that they do on a regular, I guess a part of the Toronto police, and he was telling stories of they're just like everybody else. And because they have what he called such a high-end stressful job, like they're out in the clubs, the bars, the strip clubs doing the most when they have a day off. Like these cops, they get a Saturday night off. They're the people you see at the strip club spending thousands of dollars, doing lines of coke. Like Salaki, I'm not sure if I can say that. Salaki, YouTube, I don't know if I can say that, but like they're doing like every drug you can think of, because they're trying to, what they say is cope with their high and stressful job. And it's like I can only imagine, right? Like I know me and Officer Zabadi, like we're in drywall, and I know construction can be a stressful job. So like, if I'm not mistaken, I think construction has a higher mortality rate than the military.
Right.
So
Uh,
like me and Officer Zabadi, we
Right.
understand like a high end stressful job. Like you got stories of people falling through roofs in construction, right? Like people dying because they're grabbing an electrical cord because like the contractor didn't tell the workers what's safe and what's not. It's like you got construction workers dropping like flies. And so I'm picturing this cop story of being in this high end stressful job, and it's like all they do come the weekend, they just want to drink. They just want to get high. I mean, they want to get in that strip club, and that's exactly what they're doing. So, like what you're saying is so heavy because, like you can't tell me there's any way in hell they're not walking around with drugs on.
right. You
And
understand?
like,
And and you understand, just like you said, Officer Shawan. But the question is, how come those dogs never sniff those cops? You
right.
understand? How come you're saying, well, Officers of Budget would just put it out? Well, they go into the Greyhound buses to find people, you understand, for drugs. Meanwhile, those police officers have drugs on them.
Right.
So,
Miraculously, so like a priest, miraculously, you understand, they never bark, you understand, they never give a signal that those police officers have drugs on them. So like it.
So yeah, that's definitely heavy, right? Again, it's like relying on the police to police the police. That dog knows his master is an evil master. I seen a video of a dog biting the police because police officers attacking a black man. Also, the dog also knows that the master is the one that's feeding it. That dog's not gonna bark at the police because the master is feeding it. I suspect, right? But if I could, Officer Shaywan, were you finished with that precept? Was that the last of it? Hey, Shalom Barak, Yah Washim Yashai Barak Athal. What's going on?
Yeah, but I one.
Yeah, come on, sir.
You Tawab over there, Barak?
Khan just finished slaving, tuning in. You already know what I want.
God, I got you. Officer Shaywan, can you hold Deuteronomy 28 and 49, Baba Kasha? Right. This is okay. I'm gonna just confess, right? I was thinking of a class to do today, and I already knew that I wanted to talk about this topic, and I said, wait, I need to figure out the precepts. And then I remembered this is a class I've done before because this is something that we've been speaking about. This is not the first time we've been speaking about this. So I'm just looking in my precept book, and I'm just looking at precepts I wrote as a 50, right? If you're in the I.S.U.P.K, you understand that was a long time ago. My brothers that are on the screen with me right now, they understand that was a long time ago. It feels like a short time, but it's also a long time, right? I was just a 50 stumbling at carrot speakings and trying to get it in, watching Officer Adiyar make the sun hide because he was bringing out that heat on that corner. Right? You just had to see it. It was a time to be alive, right? What a time.
Right? Hey, I ain't shit out, you understand?
But Officer Shaywan, I ain't shit either, but together we're motherfucking powerful.
You know the man coming in General YAHANNA, you understand? The man that follows Christ.
Right.
That's who we follow, you understand? So,
right. Damn right. All right, so I got some more. We are gonna go over the time. Just to let you know, we are going over 10 o'clock. We might go 15 or 20 minutes over 10 o'clock, but we're going over the time because this needs to be spoken about because no one's speaking about it except for brothers and sisters who are crying on the reserves. These oppressors don't give a damn about us. They just don't care. They rather talk about housing and Ukraine and let's stop Putin. Listen, we don't give a damn what Vladimir Putin's doing. The hooks are in their backs. They're being pulled to war. You can't stop it. Give all the money you want. You can't stop it. Right? So where are we? We're done with that article. I need Deuteronomy 28 and 49. Officer Shaywan, you can go into this article. This is just an article that's going to break down the situation of how it started and what's going on.
Kind of on concert. Salaki, do you want the precept or do you want the video first?
That should be. We should be at number 4. The article. It's more of an article than a video.
Concert. I believe. Let me double check. I believe
there is a video in it. Like that is a video, but it's just that woman speaking. I believe it's the same thing she already said. Or Officer Shaywan, you could play it for a second. See if it's anything. If it's really anything. If not, we're gonna go into the article.
Concert. So this is from CTV News. Yeah, this is from CTV News. It says they don't care. Family walks out of meeting with Premier over landfill search.
And just so hold that right there. Go back to that lady for a second, Officer Shaywan, if you could. Right? If you could leave it right there while you read the article, right? If anybody wants to know what this article is, you could just type in missing and murdered women protest on Google. This article should pop up, right? It's giving you the whole headline there, so you should be able to find it. You don't have to play this video, but I want you to see this woman's face, because this is the face of the woman who's not going to give $180 million to dig a landfill when they gave $8 billion to Ukraine. So I wanted you to see her face. Officer Shariwan, you can read the article.
Come. It says the Manitoba government says it won't support a search of a landfill outside of Winnipeg, where the remains of 2 Indigenous women.
This is the lady who's saying that. Her face. Salaki, Officer Shariwan.
Come. The Manitoba government says it won't support a search of a landfill outside of Winnipeg, where the remains of 2 Indigenous women who were murdered are believed to be located. In a statement sent Wednesday afternoon, Premier Heather Stevenson said the province won't knowingly risk the health and safety of Manitoba workers for a search of the Prairie Green landfill without a guarantee.
Hey, Officer Shaw, you want to hold up for a second. I know you might hear me a little late, but hold up for a second. Who wants to guess what the possible nationality of those workers are going to be in Manitoba?
It's lucky, I don't know.
Anybody can answer. God.
It's lucky. So the oppressor, they're probably Europeans.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be Europeans that she doesn't want to risk. She's not trying to get a single European fingernail dirty. You can't have a single little bit of dirt under one of those fingernails, right? To dig through that landfill, because it's chemically. Now, here's the hypocrisy, right? If a landfill is so bad to be around, why do they keep making landfills? Right? A landfill to search is going to be such a heinous and hazardous thing. Why are there so many landfills? Why is the Canadian government continuing to put garbage on landfills?
Salakia, priest, if I may, Officer Barakala, just hold on, all right? What is the proximity of those landfill and the native reserve? Because if those landfill are polluted, what about the reserve? Why they keep those native Indian close to those landfill that are polluted? Salaki.
God.
Right, that's definitely heavy. You got me in my phone looking up in Google right now.
Yeah, so lucky, if I may. I think it was like 2 years ago when I know you brothers know I was living up north for a little, and there was a reserve maybe 30 minutes away from me, and this one brother was telling me how they had just signed a contract with the waste management to start taking over their garbage. And he said maybe it was like a month later, 2 months later. They never had this problem on the reserve before, but as soon as they took over that waste management contract, they started getting those boiled water alerts on the reserve. And so I'm just thinking it's heavy what Officer Adiar is bringing out. Like, Lord knows, you know what I mean, like how these landfills are contaminating these reserves. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't surprise me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist like the general always says, but it just wouldn't surprise me if, you know what I mean, they're polluting these lands, you know what I mean, to further destroy our brothers and sisters. Salah.
Wow.
God. 1 second. Officer Shaiwan, you can continue reading that article. Obukasha.
Come. It says, we understand the desire to leave no stone unturned. However, the search process described in the report is complex and comes with long-term human health and safety concerns that simply cannot be ignored, Stevens had said in a statement.
Right. So, excuse me. So they're worried about a concern for health and safety, right? For if they dig through these landfills, which is, listen, it's understandable, but at the same time, it's not, right? Because I'm quite sure they could go over these landfills with drones and X-ray machines, and there are suits and hazardous suits. Like, there are scientists who work with hazardous agents and hazardous chemicals and hazardous bioweapons, right? On a regular basis. Kai.
Up until today, they still sending people right next to the Chernobyl nuclear plant just to test the waters and the land. So they know they could just go into the landfill with, like you say, hazmat suits and like whatever detectors or whatever technology there is to look for any bodies whatsoever. They could just scan the landfill with no health risk. They know that. They just won't do it because they know what they know what they're gonna end up finding there.
Right, that's definitely true, right? So, Officer Shayan, I was reading through this article. Khan.
So if I could read something really quick, because I keep hearing this thing of like the danger or whatever it may be of finding these people, and I just wanted to bring this out because like the general always talks about hypocrisy, you know what I mean? And to me, the hypocrisy of these devils, like I see it clear as day. Like, Salak, if I could, they have this rule, right? They teach in their military. It's called the leave no man behind, and it's a creed. It's a creed that they teach their soldiers. You know what I mean? Because it's they're trying to, I guess, create this environment and this culture of, regardless of how dangerous the situation is, there's nothing more important than bringing back your brother. There's nothing more important than bringing back that loved one so that the people can properly mourn. Their families can properly mourn the death of, you know what I mean, their children that they send out in these armies, in these wars. You understand? So in Esau's military, like, he don't give a damn about the long-term health effects. You know what I mean? Like, if your brother's in danger, like, you go out and you sacrifice your life. You know what I mean? You do what you have to do to bring your loved ones home. because nothing's more important than your family. And that's the kind of culture that they try to breed in the military. You know what I mean? And it's like he's coming from the perspective of he understands what it is to mourn when it comes to his people. You know what I mean? They don't. It's like you, if you've ever lost a loved one, you know what I mean, especially in some, you know what I mean, like some kind of situation like this, you don't care about the long-term effects. You'd walk out on that landfill by yourself if you could, if you could find the body of your kids. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to have somebody pull you back. You know what I mean, to try to keep you safe. But in that moment, you're not thinking about that. You just want to grieve. You want to find the people you love. You know what I mean? And it's sad in reading like the way that they're forming this literature. It's like you guys should be from the perspective of let's find a solution. You know what I mean? Let's try to figure out a plan, do whatever we have to do to dig up these loved ones. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be sitting back just making excuses.
Right.
They should be we're gonna find a solution. We're gonna figure out the technology we need so that we can go out there and find the bodies of these loved ones if they really care. Salaki.
Damn right, Brock.
So
Brock,
like,
before you go, Brock, if you can hear me. Before you go, Brock,
okay.
if you can hear me, Officer Shaiwan, get number 5 ready.
Come on.
Brock, you got it.
Okay, if I may add one, right, just to add on what Officer Sharwan brought out, because I don't know about Esau's military in the US and in Canada, but I know in France, they have a special unit or a battalion, which is basically, just for lack of better, we'll just call them the expendables, where it's going to be made up of non-Edomites, and they're the one in the front line after, before the Edomites. So let's say there's any danger, there's bullets coming whatsoever, like, they're the number one to be hit in the first place. Why? Because the Edomites they're basically the sacrifices. They're the pawns on the chessboard. You understand? So when it comes to leave no man behind,
if I could,
okay.
Like, listen, that whole leave no man behind thing with these Edomites, they're not gonna do it for us, right? What they could do if they didn't want to leave a man behind is get a ruby, get a robo ruby, right? Barack, New York has a bunch of robo rubies running around.
Right.
A bunch of robo dogs. They have drones. They have drones to go find Saddam Hussein in a hole. They have the technology to find these sisters where they don't have to have a single man in that landfill.
Right.
They can have robo X-ray machines go through that landfill. Right. And then once they determine, okay, yes, there is a body there. Right. Then they could figure out how they're gonna get the body out, right? But at the end of the day, if they wanted to, they could spend $1 billion in safety equipment to make sure no one gets sick, make sure no one's contaminated. They spent $8 billion in Ukraine. They're just not going to. Like, the oppressor does not love us, right? Officer Shayuan has a verse that I need him to read before he plays this video, right? Because it's going to, after you see this video, you're going to understand everything more clearly, right? Oppressors are trying to not put other oppressors in jail, because if they go digging through these landfills, DNA doesn't go nowhere, right? Some DNA might be contaminated. Some of that DNA stuff just might not be readable, right? But they know the more they look, they're going to find these bodies. And if they actually do an investigation, they're going to have to arrest their cousins, their uncles, their fathers, their brethren, their husbands, their grandfathers, Pastor Jim, Father Mike, Priest McGillicuddy, right? all these men are going to be arrested. You might find some Karens and Susans being arrested because it might not just be a take advantage of a sister. Salakia, again, no disrespect to any of the family members who might be watching this, right? It might not just be take advantage of a sister sexually and then take her life. It could be some of these Edomites just want to take a life. And because our brothers and sisters aren't protected, because no one's protecting these sisters, right? And this is going to, in a part of this class, I'm going to be charging some of the male Gadites for the lack of protection of these sisters, right? But if I charge the male Gadites, I have to charge the oppressor for destroying the male Gadites that aren't protecting these sisters, right? So, Officer Shayuan, can you read? And this is going to be the charging of these oppressors right now, because these oppressors don't love us. They've never loved us. They've come to murder us. They love murdering us. I believe an oppressor loves murdering Black, Hispanic, and Native American people more than they love money. It might be hand in hand. It might be a race won by just a hair, right? You might need a camera to figure out who wins the race of, does the oppressor love money more or love murdering us more? Right. Officer Shayuan, can you read?
This is Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49.
Right.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue.
Okay, so again, there's an oppressor that came across the ocean to oppress Gadites, to oppress so-called indigenous people, right? To oppress Black people, Hispanic people, right? There's a reason Black people are called Black and Hispanic people are called Hispanic. Hispanics are just natives who were forced to speak Spanish, right? But this oppressor came from far to oppress these people. He doesn't care about whether we live or die. She doesn't care about whether we live or die. That's why when I'm on the internet and I say that Caucasian comedian cannot come to the cookout, it looks crazy that Black people are arguing with me about why an oppressor should come to a cookout. Listen, you can't come to the cookout because my brothers and sisters are missing and murdered, right? No one has oppressed Native American people more than the Caucasian. So therefore, I would have a cookout with only Black and Native American people to ensure the safety of these sisters, right? Because if I invite one Caucasian into this cookout, more than likely he's going to tell a friend, and one of those friends are going to want to have my sister go missing, have my cousin go missing, have some indigenous women go missing on Highway 16. And we cannot suffer that any longer. We've been suffering it for thousands of years, for hundreds of years. Salakia, listen, our brothers and sisters have been going missing for a very long time. Right? Salakia, Officer Shayuan, keep reading.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
Right. That is a nation. The Caucasian nation represents himself with that eagle. Officer Shayuan, keep reading.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Right. Keep reading.
Verse 50. A nation of countenance.
Keep reading.
Shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Right. This is a nation that it's a angry nation, a nation that okay. Think about a lion dealing with a Salaki, what would we call a baby deer? A calf deer, or a calf of
Like
a
out of
of a cow?
a
Cut.
foal.
Salaki, repeat that. You're kind of low, bro.
A deer is a foal.
A doe, right? A lion dealing with a baby doe, right? A hungry lion. That's how the oppressor deals with us. That's how fierce they are when it comes to their anger towards us. And when it comes to their lust of wanting to abuse us and unalive us and murder us, right? That's the fierceness. This nation doesn't give a damn about if we're young or old. They took in the 1820s up to the early 90s 100,000 plus babies off these reservations, out the hands of indigenous mothers and fathers. And we found the remains of these babies in the last 2-3 years, in the thousands, right? Officer Shaw, you could drop that, right? Even if you go on into the next verse, it goes on to even tell you about what this oppressor is going to do to us, right? So now that you know we're dealing with a fierce nation, right? We're gonna go into a video of what's going on in Manitoba right now, right? The premier said she's not going to help. Gadite brothers and sisters are angry. They're protesting at these dump sites. They want these dump sites shut down, these landfills shut down, so they can be searched for their loved ones. Officer Shariwan, Bum Kasha.
Take care of your own we are. Then why are they dead? Yeah, you want to talk like that? You care about them.
This guy, he brought soil down to add on to this landfill. He brought a shot and he did it intentionally. He knew what he was doing. He didn't care that he was on camera. Why is the city hiring Impact Security to be here down the road when Impact didn't even take their license plate down?
Officer Shariwan, I need you to stop this video in a second. Wait, I need you to stop the video when she moves her thumb away, right? In this video, the woman she's trying to record, a lot of times when you're recording, especially with phones, sometimes you might put your thumb over the camera by accident. So I need you to stop this video when she moves her thumb so we can get a perfect still image of what's going on, right? What this lady is complaining about is they're protesting at this dump site. There's supposed to be security to protect them while they protest. The security is letting the Caucasians just come and counter protest their protest, right? But the Caucasians aren't using words for their protest. They're being physical and doing actual things to these Gadites who are protesting. Officer Shariwan, if you could.
Stop!
I called it in.
Right, Salaki, you can keep playing. There's another scene.
Into the police liaison, which I don't want to do because those people have failed us repeatedly, time and time again. So will they or will they not follow up on this and charge him with that? Because that is a hate crime and he needs to be charged and dealt with accordingly.
This is more than just, us taking over this little patch of land here. It's our women that are in there. And you would feel the same way if it was your daughters or your mother or your sister or someone that you loved or your wife or anyone. It makes me wonder why these people hate us so much. What did we do to them? That they're going to try and show up here today. So hopefully they show up while you guys are here. So we can actually see how racist our city is and the fight that we go through on a daily basis.
Officer Shaw, you could go back 5 seconds and stop it. Right. So this Caucasian man, he's angry, right? He's angry at that's perfect. Right where he's dumping the garbage, right? He's angry that Gadites are out there protesting these landfills. They want the landfills to be shut down for a second so they can look for their family members. That's all they want. It's only going to take 3 years, right? Which is a small amount of time in the grand scheme of the oppression Gadites have faced, right? They're asking for these landfills to be stopped. Our oppressor, such a fierce nation. Officer Adia, I gotta mute you for a second. They're oppressing. They're being oppressed by such a fierce nation. They don't even want them to protest about their oppression. And this is something. If you're in the UPK, we experience this all the time. As soon as we start talking about the crime that Black, Hispanic, and Native American people have gone through, some Christian, right? And it's usually brothers too. Sometimes there's some brother or sister, Christian, coming and telling us we can't be protesting about this, we can't be speaking about this. They don't want us to talk about it because they don't want to be reminded of their crime, right? So I just want everyone to see this. There is one more article I do want to go into, so I understand we are over the time just a little, right? So Officer Shaywan, you can finish playing this real quick, and then I'm going to go into another article.
What's your name, sir?
All right, Officer Shaywan, bring it back to the starting 15 seconds of the video, right? There's something that if you're watching the video, my back, can y'all hear me? Okay. Officer Shaywan, there's at the first 15 seconds of the video, if you can make sure the volume's all the way up on the YouTube, right? You might need to go and watch this video for yourself, but you need to hear how this oppressor is talking to the Gadites, right? So-called indigenous people, and what he's saying. And it's again why we need strong leadership, right? In the first, right at the starting of the video, Officer Shaywan.
Come on.
Right? It's why we need strong leadership, right? Because our leadership has always failed us, right? The people who act like they're in power over us under these oppressors, they failed us. They're the reason why our brothers and sisters are going missing, right? Because it's our leadership. It's basically, Slovakia, it's when you want to do everything except serve the power that created you, right? You're going to have false leaders. You're going to have bad leaders who make bad decisions, right? You can play the video, Officer Shaywan.
Come on.
Your people, take care of your own women. We are. Then why are they dead? Why
you want to talk like that?
You care about them.
This guy, he brought soil down to add on to this landfill. He brought a shovel.
All right, Shaywan, that's it. Right? That oppressor is basically saying, listen, y'all natives aren't looking out for each other. Right? You might have to go back and watch it yourself. And the brother is basically saying, you want to talk like that, right? But it comes down to it. When are we going to start looking out for each other? When are we going to start loving each other? When are we going to start? Now, I get it. Our oppression has led to a lot of trying to self-medicate, right? Our oppressions led to a lot of destroyed brothers and sisters, right? But it's time to stand up and not be destroyed anymore, right? Put on some armor, and that armor is the UPK, right? It's a place where you're gonna go from hating your own to loving and looking out for each other, right? Like you would never see. Okay, it's just I had to bring this up, right? There was a Canada Reconciliation Day, and you see so-called Native chiefs or Indigenous leaders or the elders of the community sharing a stage with the Pope, and they put a headdress on the Pope. That's because that leader doesn't take your pain seriously. Doesn't take what you're going through as a people seriously. It's a joke. To put a headdress on the Pope is a joke. It's basically saying like it's a clown show. It's saying you don't deserve to be fought for, because the simplest thing to do to fit, not even the simplest thing, it's basically saying like you can't take someone seriously if you now imagine. Here's how I'm gonna break it down for anybody who's familiar with the UPK, right? It's like someone doing something to my brother from another nation and just continually doing something to my brother and his family. And then one day that man comes and says, I apologize. He does nothing to make up for it. And I give him my garment, my gold garment that I wore in Montreal. I just go and give it to him and say, here, you can wear this on the stage with me. And here's my war scarf and my precept book. And you could just be on the stage and we're going to say everything's all right. That's what it looked like when a native leader put a headdress on the Pope.
La to Wab.
It's not good, right? It's not good at all. La Ottawa. That's a horrible thing. My brother's family would look at me like, is this nigga insane? My brother is not alive and his family's tortured. And I'm just acting like everything is cool now when it's not cool. Right? And a year later, Native people are crying about these landfills. And after Reconciliation Day, the Manitoba Premier is saying, I'm not going to help you look through these landfills for your sisters. Right? Officer Shayuan, you could drop that article and you could bring up the next article, because this is something that's always happened in Canada. All right. And I'm going to give you a piece of Canadian history. If you're wondering what has been happening to our brothers and sisters in this country, we're going to read it right now. Officer Shayuan, you can read.
Comes the article from Cultural Survival. It says, seeking justice for Canada's 500 missing Native women. The trial date for Robert Picton, who was charged in December 2003 with 15 counts of murder in what is now the largest serial killer investigation in Canadian history, is scheduled to be set this December. Of the total 22 bodies found on Picton's pig farm, as many as half are thought to be Aboriginal women.
Right. So, Officer Shayuan, hold that for a second. Officer Shayuan, this is just one devil that was charged in the early 2000s, right? And there were a total of 22 bodies found on his property. He's a pig farmer. Listen, this is another cut to you filthy Christians, right? Another cut to you Christians, another cut and another cut and another cut, right? Salaki, I like battle rap. If you watch battle rap, you'd understand, man. Good night. But this man was feeding his pigs dead bodies, and he was doing it for decades. And he's a pig farmer, and pigs are notorious for eating everything, even the bone, leaving nothing. Right?
Right.
Officer Shayuan, can you keep reading?
Picton appeared in court on June 28th, where the Canadian government and the defense agreed that a trial date should not be set until December 20th. In all, 62 women are missing from Vancouver's downtown east side alone, said Beverly Jacobs, author of an Amnesty International report on Canada's missing
All right,
women.
Officer Shaiwan, drop that right there.
Come on.
Drop that right there. Barack, can you get me John 10 and 10? Barack, get me John 10 and 10. Officer Shaiwan, cue up the other article. And this is the last article we're going into.
I got it, all whenever you want it, whenever you're ready.
Barack, you can read that.
This is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
Right. This is what our oppressors are made for, right? They come to, this is all their whole spirit. They come to steal and kill. If you don't believe me, just ask the Native Americans how they got onto the reservations, right? This has to be true because we're doing a whole class about it for the second time.
Right.
Right. Now, the thief, he comes to steal and kill. This is what our oppressor does. He only knows to steal and kill. He's not going to love you. He's not going to make anything right. It's not going to be a thing where you're going to find the love of your oppressor suddenly and we're going to be all happy and that's about it. No. Barack, read one more time. What happened?
This is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
Right. That's what the thief cometh to do. The thief came to kill and destroy us, right? So I'm going to read Shaiwan. You don't have to read anymore. I just want that picture. Shaiwan, is there any way to zoom in on that picture of Robert Picton? Right. So I'm going to that's perfect, Shaiwan. The water. If you could get it a little more right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's the pig farmer, right? That's the man who is killing women and feeding them to his pigs, right? In Canada, in Vancouver. And you wonder why our sisters go missing. In the landfills, on the pig farms, and the pastors telling you, a pork belly pastor is telling you it's okay to eat that Canadian bacon. Yuck.
The lockdown one, if I may.
Disgusting. Right? Them pigs are eating beef. Con.
This is the same people that we're told to forgive and to forget about what happened to us. And it says, this is the same people that you say God loves when Christians say God love everybody. Salakia one.
Salakia, if I may add,
right? No doubt, this is the people that we're being told to love. Someone got something, Officer Shaiwan? You got something?
Yeah, common concert, Salakia. Just to add to that point, this is the face of your God. Like this is the face of like the most beautiful, loving, kind, sweet-minded man on earth. Like this is what our people, because of how destroyed we are, we see these people and think there's something good about them. Like
right.
What's it called? That black doll experiment or white doll, black doll. Like you got 7-year-old of our black babies, our children, our Gadite sisters, our black sisters, Mexican. They're looking at these white dolls like they're beautiful, they're kind, they're sweet, they're the doll with the good hair, the good eyes, and they see that black doll and they're like, that's an evil doll, that's a dark doll. I hate the color of that doll. Like in the minds of our people, this this is the goal. You got our black sisters in Jamaica bleaching their skin. You got our sisters putting on them wigs, those blonde wigs, so that they can look like these people. Meanwhile, he's feeding our sisters to some damn pigs. You understand? Like, this is the devil the Bible speaks of. You understand? And I know the scriptures say,
damn right,
according
damn
to
right.
Come on, concert, right? And the scriptures say, judge according to appearance, and because like us as a people, you know what I mean? Like we're not the racist people. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna hate people just because of the color of your skin, but they'd have you believe there's something disgusting about who you are and how you look. You know what I mean? And like, I think Officer Zabadia says this all the time. Like, this is just when I see somebody that looks like this is just a warning. You know what I mean? This is a warning to my kids. This is a warning to my family. You know what I mean? That you might want to look into this person's history, because there's a good chance, you know what I mean, that they're the ones who are lynching our sisters. They're the ones stealing our babies off these reserves, you know what I mean, putting them into different sex trafficking. Like, these are the people that we got to be afraid of. You understand? Salakia.
Salakia, Officer Zabadia, you still here?
Yeah. Officer Shaw won't take over until Officer Zabadia gets here. We already passed on time, so I don't know like if he was gonna close it or whatnot. But we already passed on time on you understand? So, but just take over, all right, Officer Shaw.
Yeah, come on, sir. Yeah, Salakia. I'm not sure if Officer Zabadia wanted to speak on anything else. I think he was just about to get into something, but like I was saying, this is absolutely the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Damn right.
Like, these are people that we need to teach our babies. You know what I mean? To have no part with. You know what I mean? Don't join hand in hand with these people. Don't follow their ways. Don't follow their customs. Like, the way these people think is sick and twisted. You understand? Like, this is the race of people who were Salakia. What were they doing in Rome? I think it was called pederasty. You know what I mean? This is the race of people who had grown men taking young boys and doing all sorts of evil with. You understand? It's no wonder that, you know what I mean, there's so much molestation in that Catholic Church, those Christian churches.
So like, if I could leave a verse before I leave, right?
Come on, counsel.
So somebody bring me to Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10, Babu Kwasha. Understand? And you're gonna realize and understand why we have those type of classes and do you understand these classes for you for free as well. And you're gonna understand why the oppressor, just like we read today, you understand, like to water, you understand, to water Yahweh, we are shy, to water for officers of body, bringing this topic, you understand, to your face right now, because you seen the oppressors not willing to go to willing to seek, you understand, justice for the Native Indian. That should put in your mind, like, why they are not. Matter of fact, and other Christian, I don't see one Christian church saying, well, they need justice. I don't see one Christian church saying, well, you know what, we need to talk about this fact, you understand, that they are being missing. Not one of them is talking about it. We are in the UPK, but we're gonna leave you with something as well. You got the verse?
There's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy,
Never trust thy enemies, man. Just like Officer Zabaja was saying, well, you know what? Those politicians, you understand, Justin Trudeau and all of them, they come in your neighborhood. You understand? Joe Biden come in your neighborhood. You are not black if you don't vote for me. Don't trust that, man. Don't trust these people, man. You understand? Because these people, all they want is your destruction. Everything they want
Right.
is you being destroyed. And like this, they could be on top. Understand that, man. Never trust your enemies, man. Every Christian church is built by, you understand, so-called Caucasian. The Bible tells you not to trust them, man. Why?
Right.
Because, you understand, they are your enemy, man. They are not your friend. They are not your brothers. They're your enemies, man. And that's for the Arabs as well. That's for the African as well. They are your enemies, man. Never trust that enemies, man. Go ahead.
Karawakan. For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
How do iron rust? How does iron rust? Anybody? Is it a fast process or a slow process?
It's like it's a slow process, that one.
You sure about that, Ak? If you put it in there in water, would it take time, like y'all said, like a year to rust?
Nah, that one.
It's gonna come quick, right?
Kind of cancer.
It's gonna come quick. It's gonna come quick, right?
Cancer.
So this is exactly your enemies, man. This is your enemy. This is the Esau. You see Esau talking about Joe Biden says what? Well, you know what? Lock up somebody for a piece of crack. Now we have report that his son is smoking crack. It's coming quick, Akim. You understand? You about to see the real face of your oppressor, the real face of your enemies, you understand, in due time, quickly, surely. You understand? Never trust thy enemies, man. Never trust so-called Edomites, white people. Never trust the Africans. Never trust the Arabs. Never trust, you understand, the East Indian. That's in the Bible, man. That's for us, you understand, to understand that. And if we see what's going on outside, we will understand that. Never trust that enemies, man. Why? Because they don't give a F about you, man. So like, they don't give a damn about you, man. All they give a damn about is their own people and how they could be successful. Well, it's time for us to, you understand, to start thinking about our own people and how we could be successful. Let's try that for a change. So like,
How's it? Salaki, I was supposed to buy you. You're on mute.
Like, well, we can't hear you.
La, we can't hear you, sir. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Salaki, just until off body gets that worked out, like, yeah, this class is such a heavy class, and it's why it's so important, right? If you're Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, yeah, I mean, to stay tuned in these classes.
Salakia Akim, can y'all hear me?
All
right. We're definitely going to end this class. Dawada, Officer Adiyar for holding it down. Officer Shariwan, Officer Barakiala for holding it down. I appreciate everyone who was in this class, right? This is definitely a heavy topic that we had to touch on, right? I wanted to lastly say, this man that's on your screen was convicted in court of 6 murders, charged with 26 murders, confessed to 49 murders of women. So when Officer Adiyar is telling you never to trust your enemies, never forget in 2023, Robert Pickton was finally charged. And by 2027, in 2003, Robert Pickton was charged. And by 2007, he confessed to 49 murders of women. That should let you know everything that's wrong with the Christian church and loving your oppressor. Right? So again, if you're in Toronto, this Wednesday, 8 p.m., we'll be teaching live at 5160 Yonge Street, right? In the library in the North York Civic Center. North York Civic Center, again, 5160 Yonge Street, right? Again, the water for everyone who's tuning into this class. We're going to bring it into the class. Clap it up. Shalom.